All right, so now we're gonna use like the same formulas we did in our last, or it was actually the same section, so 4.2a, and now we're in 4.2b. So we just need to remember that all of the angles in a triangle always add up to 180. All right, and then the other formula we learned, the exterior angle sum formula, says that if you have this exterior, um, we have this exterior angle out here, which we'll call angle 1. That is always equal to the measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 3. So like the opposite interior angles inside of there. Okay. So those are the two ones we're going to be using here. So let's go ahead and start using them. Okay. So we see here on number 1, they want to find the value of the variable. So they give us all 3 angles here in terms of x. And so what we should do is add them all up and equal them to 180. So we're going to say 9x minus 8 plus x plus 10 plus x plus 2 equals 180. So just add them all up if you know the 3 inside angles and equal them to 180, okay? Okay, so now we need to combine like terms. Okay, so let me find my like terms here. So we have the 9x and the x again. So that's really 9x plus 1x plus 1x. So 9 plus 1 plus 1 is going to give us 11x. All right, and then for the numbers, we have -8 and we have +10 and we have +2. So -8 plus 10 is +2. And then 2 plus 2 gives me 4. So plus 4 here. All right. And then that's going to equal to 180. All right. So add them all up, equal them to 180. Next up, we combine like terms, and now we need to solve them like we've been solving all year. So we're going to add or subtract this number. So I'll minus the 4. So 11x equals 176. All right. And then we'll divide both sides by 11. And that's going to tell us that x equals 16. That's our answer for that one. X equals 16. So we subtracted 4 from each side, got 176, and then divided by 11. All right, let's move on to number 2. So for number 2, really the same process. It gives us the 3 inside angles, so we need to add them up. So we have 5x minus 2 plus 3x plus 4 plus, now we do have this third angle here. Remember, we have the box there. And remember, anytime it's the box, that means it's a right angle, which means it's 90. So I do need to add that one in there as well to add them up to equal them to 180, okay? So watch out for those boxes. It looks like they're unlabeled, but really they are labeled. Okay, so now we'll combine like terms. So I have 5x and 3x combined to make 8x. And then -2 plus 4 plus 90. So -2 plus 4 is +2, plus 90 is 92. All right. So now I have it set up like that. I'm going to subtract the 92 and then divide by 8. So here we go. Minus 92 minus 92. This would be 88 equals 8x with these canceling out. Divide by 8. And x equals 11. There we go. All right. Let's go ahead and move along here. All right, let's take a look at number 3. So on number 3, we do not have the 3 inside angles. We have 2 inside angles and then an exterior angle. Now you can see that this exterior angle is opposite of these 2 interior angles that we know. And so that means we can use the formula that we reviewed today. We can use this formula right here. So the one exterior angle equals the 2 opposite interior angles added together. So I'm going to use that here. So we're going to start our setup by saying, all right, if I add the 2 interior angles, so the interior angles are the 11x minus 2 plus the 9x plus 1, that should equal the exterior angle, which is the 19x plus 3. Okay, so this is going to allow us to solve for x here. I would first just combine like terms on that left side here. So 11x plus 9x makes 20x. And then -2 plus 1 gives me -1 equals 19x plus 3. All right, we have variables on both sides. So whenever that happens, we want to get all the variables on one side. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract 19x from both sides. I always like my variables on the left-hand side. So that's going to put this as 1x minus 1 equals 3. Remember, whenever it's 1x, you can really just write it as x. And then we will add 1 to each side. And we'll say x equals 4. Okay, let's move on to our next question here. All right, so this one has a lot going on to it here on number 4. What would I do first? Well, first thing I'm noticing here is that this one is 11x minus 9. And then remember that if that one is 11x minus 9, we can actually also say that this one is 11x minus 9 because of the vertical angles, remember? They are always congruent, the ones that are kind of pointing at each other like that. So I know that's 11x minus 9. So I'm actually going to work on this triangle on the right first, since now I kind of have something for all three of those angles. It's all in terms of x. I don't want to do this triangle yet because this one has like an x and a y in it. I want the one that either has all x's or all y's first. Okay, so we'll go ahead and grab all the angles from in there, add them up, and equal them to 180. All right, so we get 11x minus 9 plus 6x minus 2 plus 72 equals 180. We do have to add up all three angles, even though that last angle, the 72, doesn't have an x in it. We still do need to add it up here. Okay, so now we'll combine like terms. So let's find those like terms here. We have 11x and 6x makes 17x. All right, and then we'll add up the numbers. So -9 plus -2 is -11. And then plus 72, -11 plus 72 would be plus 61 equals 180. All right, now we will subtract 61 from both sides. So 17x equals 119. Divide by 17. All right, so 119 divided by 17. And I needed to use a calculator for that. I got x equals 7. So that is going to be good for us. X equals 7. All right, so that's good for finding x, but now we do need to still find y. All right, so we'll do that in a minute here. 30 seconds. Okay, so the first step for finding y, I want to get a number angle for this one up here since we know x now. I would just say like, all right, so what's 11? I'm going to plug x into this formula, 11x minus 9. So 11 times 7 minus 9 would be 77 minus 9 would be 68. All right. So we know then that this angle right here is 68 once we know what x is. And so now I can add everything up from that triangle and equal it 20. So we know it's 30 plus 68 plus 5y minus 8 is going to equal up to 180. Okay, so now we just need to solve that one to figure out what y is. Okay, so let's combine like terms first. All right, so let's see, we have 5y. It doesn't have a like term, so we'll just rewrite it. Then 30 plus 68 is 98 minus 8 is plus 90 equals to 180. Okay, so we will then subtract 90 and divide by 5. So minus 90 minus 90 tells us that 5y equals 90. Divide by 5. And y needs to equal 18. So there we go. X equals 7, y equals 18. All right, let's move on to our next one here. Is this our last one? It is, and then we'll be able to start our formative. All right, so for this one, it says we have a triangle PQR. This is angle P, this is angle Q, this is angle R. We could draw the triangle for this one if we wanted to. So if you want to draw the triangle PQR, you could, but I actually noticed right away that they just told me the three angles inside anyway, right? So we kind of know that if we, for a triangle, if we have all three angles, we would just add up the three angles and equal them to 180. So for this one, for me, you definitely don't have to draw the triangle. So I'm not going to. Again, you could draw the triangle if you wanted to, but in this one, it's very clear that they've labeled all three angles. So whenever we have all three angles, we should just add them up and equal them to 180. Okay, let's combine like terms here. All right, so then we got x and 5x and 2x. So 1x plus 5x plus 2x sounds like 8x to me. All right, and then we have negative 12. We have negative 27. That's going to make negative 39. Negative 39 plus 3 is negative 36. Okay, so next up then, we will add the 36 and then divide by 8. So let's do that. Plus 36. 8x equals 216. Divide that by 8, and x equals 216 divided by 8 is 27. Okay. You can see that this one also asks for all of the angle measurement. That's pretty easy as well. Once we get the x, we can just plug it back in. So if I'm doing this one, measure of angle P equals x minus 12. So angle P equals, now we know x is 27. It's just 27 minus 12, which would be 15. All right, and then angle Q is 5x minus 27. So for angle Q, we'll do 5 times 27 minus 27. I'll use a calculator for that. And I got 108. Okay. And then the last one is angle R. It's going to be 2 times 27 plus 3 using this formula, but just plugging in a 27. So that's 54 plus 3. That's 59. No, it's not. 54 plus 3, 57. So there are my three angles.